Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host Nathan Lyle, and this is WNBA Weekly, the show where twice a week, usually on Mondays and Fridays, I will stand in front of this camera, talk about things that have happened recently in the association, and things I'm looking forward to in the upcoming days. Now, I'm not going to give you a game-by-game recap of what happened this weekend. Instead, since the month of June is over, I want us to take a look back at the season so far, see where some of the teams stand right now, and how they got there. So, first we'll start to look at your current standings. Looking at how teams are performing currently, the longest winning streaks in the league belong to the Los Angeles Sparks, who have won their last 8 in a row, and second is the Minnesota Lynx, who have won their last 3 in a row. Both of them have won 9 of their last 10. The second place would be the Connecticut Sun, who have won 7 of their last 10. The San Antonio Stars this weekend finally got their first win of the season. So now that they finally got one in the win column, the longest losing streaks in the league belong to the Sky and the Liberty, who have each lost their last 3 straight. The Sparks are the only team still undefeated at home. The Lynx have only lost 1 home game this year. The Mystics have lost 2. Notice how those teams are 1, 2, and 3 in the league. And then at the very bottom of the league, you have the Chicago Sky, the only team still winless at home. And you've got the Stars. They finally got their first home win of the season. The only other teams that are under 500 at home are the Wings and the Mercury. Well, that's not necessarily a huge deal because they're only 1 game under 500. The Lynx are the only team undefeated on the road. The Mercury have only lost 2 road games this year. Fun fact, there are currently 6 teams in the league that have a better winning percentage on the road than at home. The San Antonio Stars are the only team still winless on the road, and right now you've got the Storm and the Fever, who are both 2 and 5 on the road. The Mystics are the only team undefeated against Eastern Conference opponents. The Lynx are the only team undefeated against Western Conference opponents. The Sparks so far have only lost 1 game against the Western Conference. You've got the San Antonio Stars, who have yet to defeat a single Western Conference team, and they've only beaten 1 Eastern Conference team. And you've also got the New York Liberty. Surprisingly, they are 1 and 4 against the Eastern Conference. I thought, one of the main reasons I thought the Liberty would be such a good team this year is because of how much they've controlled the Eastern Conference the past couple of seasons. Lately, though, they're still a top 5 team. They've had a winning record all year, but they've been above 500 against the West and 1 and 4 against the East. So it's a little shocking. Still, that being said, they've still managed to win enough games that they are in second place in the Eastern Conference. That being said, the Eastern Conference is underperforming this season. Now, looking back at my power rankings at the beginning of the year before the season started, I'm very happy to say I was 80% right about how things would turn out, at least so far this season. We've still got a whole second half of the year to go, but as of right now, things are definitely shaping up almost exactly how I predicted, and I'm very happy about that. I like being right. You've got the Lynx number 1, the Sparks number 2, the Mystics in the top 4. They're 1 spot higher than I predicted them to be, but that's mostly just because I was only a little bit wrong about New York. As I discussed a little bit earlier, the Liberty, they struggled against a very weak Eastern Conference, and that's why their standings are slightly lower than they probably should be right now. But they're still a top team. They've been in the playoff standings all year long. The Connecticut Sun, I did not put them in the playoffs just because I wasn't sure if somebody would step up. But I did say that if they could find playmaking on their roster, if they could find that leadership on the court, they did have a very legitimate chance of being in the playoffs. And they found that in Jonquel Jones. She's a double-double machine. She's been leading the league in rebounding all year. She has a legitimate shot at winning MVP this year if the Sun continue to be winning. She's been the biggest factor in their success. Not to mention Alyssa Thomas having a breakout year. Jasmine Thomas has been putting up some career numbers this season. The Sun are really surging, and I'm really pissed about the fact that the Stars had a chance to draft both of those players, Jones and Thomas, but no, we just keep drafting guards year after year, and look where that's gotten us. I don't know if I said it on this channel, but when Alyssa Thomas was coming out of college, she was the player that I wanted. The only team whose performance I can say actually surprises me is the Chicago Sky. Now, like, the Dallas Wings and the Seattle Storm haven't been as dominant as I expected, but with both of them, they've got such young rosters. You can expect a few missteps here and there. But the Sky, they're the only team that, like, I thought they'd be good. Wasn't necessarily sure they'd have a winning record, but I didn't think they'd be this horrible. They're missing their star player like a few other teams are, but I guess for them, some new additions to their roster and a brand new coach, I think it might just be a little bit too much for them to handle. That they're definitely gonna be in the lottery this year. That being said, I was right about one thing. Their length has been an issue for every team that they played against. The Sky all season long have been at the top of the league in blocks and rebounds. Now, if only they could defend without fouling. I guess the main point that I'm trying to make is I'm smarter than you, or I'm smarter than you, or I'm just kidding. I'm not that smart, I'm just informed. Anyone can predict the future based on data and trends from the past. You just have to have enough information. That being said, don't go to Vegas and put down money just because I told you that the Sun was going to win it all. Because if I could predict the future, this video would be much higher quality. I would have so much money, I would own my own studio, I could hire people to do all this shit for me. Okay, got a little sidetracked there. Let's move on to the games that are being played this week. As always, I will tell you the ones that are currently scheduled to broadcast nationally. And for the rest, check your local listings, or you can watch every single game on WNBA League Pass. And of course, every time that I mention is Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to adjust for your time zones. On Wednesday, you've got 3 games in action. First, you've got the Dream versus the Wings at 8. Then you've got the Sun versus the Stars at 8. That game's going to be on Twitter. The Stars, they finally got their first win of the year. Can they make it 2 in a row against the surging Connecticut team that's looking to break into the top 4 this weekend? And then you finish off with the Mystics versus the Mercury at 10. Both of these teams just suffered a tough loss over the weekend, hoping to bounce back. Then on Thursday, you've got 2 games. First of all, you've got the Sparks versus the Lynx. So many storylines here. That game is going to be on ESPN2 at 8 o'clock. You've got the 2 longest active winning streaks in the league going head to head. The Sparks, if they win this one, it'll be 9 straight, which matches the Lynx, who started this season off 9-0. So they'll be tied for the longest winning streaks of the year. This game won't knock the Lynx out of first place. They'll still have a half-game lead just because they played 1 less game, so they have 1 less loss. But if the Sparks win, that definitely gives them a tiebreaker advantage for down the stretch, when the games are more evened out. And also, it's the first finals rematch of 2017. I was saving that for last, but now I realize it's kind of stupid because that's the first thing everyone thought of. It's the first time they've played each other since beating up on each other in the epic 5 games finals, where 2 of them literally came down to the final seconds and the last shot. So yeah, we've been looking forward to this. In the last game of the week, you've got the Liberty versus the Storm at 10 p.m. And these 2 teams, their seasons have been so eerily similar. It's kind of funny, really. Well, that's it for this edition of WNBA Weekly. Go in the comment section below. I need more engagement on this channel. If you liked it, click like. Leave some comments below. What parts do you agree with? What parts do you disagree with? And don't forget that if you haven't already, to subscribe to the channel so that you can see all of my videos. The next one I put up will be on Friday. And until then, this has been The Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lau. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I don't actually celebrate holidays, but hey, if someone's having a barbecue with hot dogs and burgers, I'm there. I don't care what your beliefs are. If your boss is giving you a day off from work because it's a national holiday, then fuck it. You enjoy the hell out of it.